This was long time ago though. So she got a proffer. Proffer. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him to put the name on the record.
Morning.
Y'all hit the like button.
Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th.
Was that this year?
The time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
And my name is Todd Blanche. I'm the Deputy Attorney General, and
yeah, this is when he was the Attorney General.
Asking questions of Ms. Max.
This is when he was the Attorney General.
Good morning. My name is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th, and the time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
And my name is Todd Blanche. I'm the Deputy Attorney General, and before we start formally asking questions of Ms. Maxwell, I'm going to put on the record everybody that's in this room.
Y'all better get them likes up. Oh, let me go.
Diego Pastana, Associate Deputy Attorney General.
And then you heard from Special Agent in Charge Horn. Mark Beard from the United States Marshal Service is here as well. And then David?
Yes, this is David Oscar Marcus, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Thea Safian, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
When did she get a proffer?
I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
Go ahead.
And I'm Ghislaine Maxwell.
Good morning. Ms. Maxwell, how are you?
Morning.
Good. Okay, so before we started recording, we met for a few minutes. I introduced myself and we chatted, and now I told you that we were going on the record. And before we start asking questions, I know that you've been given by your lawyer a copy of what's called a proffer agreement. And I just want to spend 2 minutes making sure that you understand.
Did we know this, y'all?
Conversation.
Did we know this? The long time ago? So why now why does she think that she was entitled to the sweetheart deal that she should have been able to have been released or none? She has a whole proffer. And this is in New York. So she hadn't been hit with Florida yet. I hadn't listened to this, y'all. I called myself. I've been sitting on it for a little bit. I was hoping that y'all would come on with the likes today, and that I could play this since we done found out that Marla Maples' ass had been on the Epstein Islands several times. What's a proffer? That means she a proffer. Denise Precious. That means she snitched and she got a deal. She snitched. She gave up. Who did she give up though? Because when Blanche went and met with her this year by himself, and she gonna sit up there and say she didn't know nobody, she ain't seen nobody, and ain't nobody did nothing. Please. Oh, come on, Charger. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Let me stop talking, cause I'm back to Lord, what do I need to do to make this work? May have to move the devices. Hold on.
Today, the most important part of this agreement is that this isn't a cooperation agreement, meaning that by you meeting with us today, we're really just meeting. I'm not promising to do anything. I'm not promising to ask Judge Nathan or any of the judges that's been assigned to your case to do anything. We're just talking. And so that's the most important part of this agreement. However, almost as important is the fact that what this agreement does for you is it gives you protection. So what it means is that the government cannot use what you say today against you, with some exceptions, which we'll talk about in a minute. But whatever you talk about today, you have what's called immunity. So that means that the words that you say today, we cannot use against you in a case in chief if we were ever to bring one. Okay?
Thank you.
There's exceptions to that. The most meaningful one of which is that if you say something today that's not true, that's a lie, we can bring a prosecution against you for what's called false statements. So I'm a federal officer. I have several officers here. The FBI is here, and if you lie to someone that's like me or like Special Agent Horn, it's a crime. So you have to be truthful. The other exception to this that doesn't necessarily apply directly to you, but if there ever was a retrial in your case, or if there ever was a criminal case, a future criminal case against you, and your lawyer or you said something different or took a position that's different than what you say today, we can then cross-examine you or witness based upon what you say today. So it's a little bit nuanced, meaning I can't use what you say against you in our case in chief. However, if you were to testify, or if your lawyer called a witness to testify and they said something that is totally different than what you say today, we could then cross-examine you or the witness and say, hey, do you remember when we met with Miss Maxwell back in July of 2025? She told us, and then say what she said. Okay?
I understand.
Okay. Other than that, I know you didn't have a lot of time this morning to meet with Mr. Marcus, but did you have a chance?
457 people in here, y'all. Please get the likes up. Double tap the face of your screen. Double tap, just like this, the face of the on your phone device. I need the likes to go up. We are listening to Ghislaine Maxwell a long time ago. Before she was found guilty, she had a proffer agreement that I don't think they told us. If they did, I don't remember it. Do anybody remember her having a proffer agreement? I'm trying to read this, y'all, until they come back with my phone charger. Hi, Judy. We listening to some serious tea, baby. My tea is hot. I be trying to tell y'all. And I be trying to, I done bought so much tea, my phones don't even want to work. Y'all, hit the like button. Double tap the face of your screen. Get the likes up.
Yes, to go over this briefly with them.
I did.
Okay. All right. So I've already signed it, as has Special Agent Horn, and Mr. Marcus signed it as well.
So this is not Patel.
Clients. Yep.
This is not Bondi.
And I will provide a copy of this to.
This was the first go around.
Okay.
Blanche was the Attorney General.
Thank you. So Ms. Maxwell, about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago,
You see the light blinking on there? On the phone. Yeah, there it is.
okay, we're just confirming that it works, and it does. Ms. Maxwell, I guess about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, Mr. Marcus reached out to me and said that
No,
you
it wasn't
wanted to speak.
2025. You've not heard Patel. Only person's name you have heard was Blanche. And at this time, he was the Attorney General. Let me start over. He was the Attorney General. It said FBI at the beginning. Y'all please support the platform. I am trying my best to make sure that we listening with our good ear and that I don't get upset and shut it down. So come on.
I'm asking you to put the name on the record here.
Morning. My name is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Spencer Horn of FBI New York. Today we're doing a proffer of Ms. Maxwell. The date is July 24th, and the time is 10:12 a.m. This interview is being recorded.
And my name is Todd Blanche. I'm the Deputy Attorney General. And before we start formally,
What is his position now? What is Blanche's position now?
Everybody that's in this room, in addition to me. Starting with Diego.
Diego Pistona, Associate Deputy Attorney General.
And then you heard from Special Agent in Charge Horn. Mark Beard from the United States Marshal Service is here as well. And then David.
Yes, this is David Oscar Marcus, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Leah Safian, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
My name is Melissa Madrigal, and I'm counsel for Ghislaine Maxwell.
Go ahead.
And I'm Ghislaine Maxwell.
Good morning, Ms. Maxwell. How are you?
Good morning, Ms. Black.
Good. Okay, so before we started recording, we met for a few minutes. I introduced myself and we chatted, and now I told you that we were going on the record. And before we start asking questions, I know that you've been given by your lawyer a copy of what's called a proffer agreement. And I just want to spend 2 minutes making sure that you understand what governs our
So
conversation today.
he's
The most important part of
Deputy
this agreement
Attorney
is that
General
this is
now?
a cooperation agreement, meaning that by you meeting with us today, we're really just meeting. I'm not promising to do anything. I'm not promising to ask Judge Nathan or any of the judges that's been assigned to your case to do anything. We're just talking, and so that's the most important part of this agreement. However, almost as important is the fact that what this agreement does for you is it gives you protection. So what it means is that the government cannot use what you say today against you, with some exceptions, which we'll talk about in a minute. But whatever you talk about today, you have what's called immunity. So that means that the words that you say today, we cannot use against you in a case.
So I thought he went in by himself. I thought he conducted it by himself. I don't remember all of these people being involved, and I don't remember her having a proffer agreement. But let's listen. Maybe I thought this was old. Let's go.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's exceptions to that. The most meaningful one of which is that if you say something today that's not true, that's a lie, we can bring a prosecution against you for what's called false statements. So I'm a federal officer. I have several officers here. The FBI is here, and if you lie to someone that's like me or like Special Agent Horn, it's a crime. So you have to be truthful. The other exception to this that doesn't necessarily apply directly to you, but if there ever was a retrial in your case, or if there ever was a criminal case, a future criminal case against you, and your lawyer or you said something different or took a position that's different than what you say today, we can then cross-examine you or witness based upon what you say today. So it's a little bit nuanced, meaning I can't use what you say against you in our case in chief. However, if you were to testify, or if your lawyer called a witness to testify, and they said something that is totally different than what you say today, we could then cross-examine you or the witness and say, hey, do you remember when we met with Miss Maxwell back in July of 2025? She told us, and then say what she said. Okay?
I understand.
Okay. Other than that, I know you didn't have a lot of time this morning to meet with Mr. Marcus, but did you have a chance to go over this briefly with him?
I did.
Okay. All right. So I've already signed it, as has Special Agent Horn, and Mr. Marcus signed it as well. So you got a pen? Please sign it right where it says clients. Yep. And I will provide a copy of this to your lawyers so you guys have it. Okay. Thank you. So, Ms. Maxwell, about a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago, you see that right button on there? On there, no. Yeah, there it is. Okay, we're just confirming that it works, and it does. Ms. Maxwell, I guess about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, Mr. Marcus reached out to me and said that you wanted to speak with somebody from the government about not only your case, but about everything that's been in the media and that's been publicized.
Okay, I was
about,
wrong.
Mr. Epstein in your case.
That is true.
Good
and
listening.
I did speak to him, and I did ask him if, I did tell him that I was very keen to talk to anyone, because no one from the government at any time ever would be, since the inception.
I just
of the
didn't
case,
realize all
so
them
dating
people
back
were
to
there.
The early 2000s, has ever spoken to me, and indeed, I believe ever reached out to me at any time to even speak to me, and that includes up to when I was indicted and prosecuted. I believe that, or I understand, I should say rather, that my attorneys at the time did tell the government that I wanted to speak to them, because I was very keen to meet with anyone so that I could tell or have them ask me any question. I've never had any problem just to speak to anybody, and I offered myself, and I kept asking if they would meet with me so that I could talk to them, and for whatever reason, that was not happening.
Okay. I have questions that I want to ask you, but I'm not, if there's a question that I'm not asking that you think should be asked, I invite you to volunteer. Same thing goes to your lawyers. Just to start a little bit, very briefly, can you talk about when you first met Mr. Epstein? I know that goes back a while. And just very generally talk about your relationship with Mr. Epstein from the time you met him all the way up until his death.
I met Mr. Epstein in 1991. I'd never heard of him or met him before, and no one in my family had ever either.
She lied.
My father never knew him, and I'll explain why that is the case.
Where did you meet him?
I had a girlfriend who I'd moved to America briefly I'd moved to America in 1990.
Okay.
Moved, is a big word. I'd come to visit America in 1990. I had been running my own company up until that time, which was a company called Maxwell's Corporate Gifts. And I had also been working for my father at the time. I've had multiple jobs with him. I was, in 1990, I was working with a new company of his, a new newspaper that he was launching called The European. And I was in charge of launching a magazine to go with the European. And I was traveling at that time from England to America because my father was looking to, he'd also bought Macmillan, the publishing house, and he had purchased the New York Daily News. And it's true to say that my father always wanted me to come back, full time and work for him, but that's a much longer story. I don't think we need to go into it this time. So, but I was always working with him. There was no escaping, as it were, to work for him. So, in 1990, I had come over to New York to help look at some of that. He was having some advertising issues with the New York Daily News, and in fact, I may have met Donald Trump at that time because my father was friendly with him and liked him very much. And I think it should be said that he also very much liked Ivana, because she was also from Czechoslovakia, where my dad was from. So I don't remember if I did meet him or not in 1990 with my dad, but I knew that's how I knew about then Mr. Trump.
And this was before you met?
This was before I met Mr.
Epstein?
Yes. So I was already going backwards and forwards in America, and then in April of 1991, I came to New York. I can't remember for what business reason, but there was a business reason, something to do with my dad at that time. And a girlfriend of mine, an American, told me, I'd broken up with I've been engaged, getting the very long-term boyfriend, and we'd broken up. And she said, well, I've got, as your girlfriends do, I've got a guy for you to meet. Like, who is it? And she goes, he's been dating my sister, you'll love him, he's looking for a wife. I'm edging towards 30, I don't need to tell you guys, that's a very important moment for a girl, just to think about important things. Sure, I'd be happy to meet him. And so sometime in 1991, we're in 1991, I met him at his offices on Madison Avenue. And I think the most memorable thing I can think about that is he was wearing a tie, which he didn't often do, and it had a giant tomato ketchup stain on it. So I was like, wow, okay. And that was how we met.
Was your meeting at his office for you to meet him just personally, or were you there for work-related reasons?
No, I knew nothing about him. Okay. He just invited me to come and have tea. And I was like, tea, that's English, okay. But what was unusual was in his offices. So I went to his offices and we met.
Oh, Lord.
And I found him very engaging, and that was that.
So, okay, so that's how you meet him. So, and again, I don't want to spend a lot of time, on this particular issue, but what happened with your relationship over the years from the time you meet him in 1991 up until the time he passed away? Just give the highlights.
Okay, guys. So I was looking for real estate for my dad to buy some, and Epstein told me that he was also looking to move from his apartment, and would I help him? And I said, sure, I'm looking already, so I could look for him. So that's how it started. And then in 1991, my father passed away. And I returned to New York after that, originally to come back and help with family businesses, which was Millennium. And then the debacle of my father's passing hit the family, and we lost all our businesses. And my family thought that it would be best if I stayed in America because of the intensity of the press and the drama surrounding my father's death in England. So I stayed, and Epstein said, well, you can keep helping me, you can help me find that house, and you can decorate the house, and it gave me something to do.
Were you in a romantic relationship with him at this point, or just friends?
Just friends.
And while we're just, with respect to your father, there have been multiple questions about whether he worked for any intelligence agency. Do you have any knowledge about that?
I think, certainly my father had a background in intelligence because he was believe he did in the Second World War. He was a British intelligence officer. I think that my sort of belief is that once you've been an intelligence officer, you're kind of always, it doesn't mean that you're formally employed. So I don't think my dad in any formal sense was employed by any agency. But when you are a very significant businessman and politician, as my father was, you meet with people all the time, and you, I guess, trade business or ideas. I think that would fall under that definition. That's how I would think of it now.